Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the CEO of Unity Technologies, John Riccatello.
So you got to say wow to that. I mean, it never ceases to amaze me to see the innovation and sheer brilliance of the developers that are using Unity to create these amazing games. Honestly, you guys are having a blast. I know we are. And with that, I'd like to welcome you to GDC 2016 and Unity's Keynote. Now, as always, our principles guide us. We think a lot about putting developers first. And when we talk about principles, you've seen these before. We talk about them a lot. I'm going to start with democratization, democratizing game development. A year ago, we launched Unity 5, and with that, we announced the first time a fully featured version of Unity, Unity 5.0 Personal Edition, designed for the small developer, a developer with less than $100,000 in revenue. I want to tell you what's happened since then. From last year to now, we now have 1.1 million monthly users of Unity Personal Edition. Talk about democratization in action. Think about that number for a minute. 1.1 million different developers using the platform every month. That's more people than work for all of the public game companies in the world combined, added in the last 12 months. That just blows my mind. I couldn't be more proud. I mean, David and Joachim started with these principles, and that is bringing it to life. It's what we try to be. It's what we aspire to be. Solving hard problems. In the last year, we've solved so many problems in graphics and efficiency and workflow optimization. Added platforms that are so complex. It's mind-boggling, the content that's coming forward on these. And we've talked about a new principle, enabling success. Through our ads and analytics platform, we've brought more money to developers than we've ever thought possible, which is really important because making a great game requires you to survive first. And we're proud to be able to help on that front. Clive will talk a lot more about that later this morning. My focus this morning is on the core engine. Now, as I mentioned, we launched Unity 5 a year ago, and we committed to making it a graphic powerhouse, capable of very best visuals on the most powerful platforms. We said we were going to continue to invest in efficiency and flexibility, a tool for developers of all types. Ease of use is always central to us. We talked about more platforms, supporting the most important platforms, so you wouldn't have to choose either or. You can say and. And then in parallel, we said we wanted to achieve a level of predictability with Unity development we haven't achieved in the past. Let's take a look back at the last 12 months. We've achieved a lot. Quarterly builds, monthly updates, weekly patches. I'd like to just touch on a few of the highlights. In the last year on the graphics side, we brought PBR into our platform, real-time global illumination, and did so across multiple platforms. And we continued providing enhanced graphical performance tools, empowering artists to do more than ever before with technology like CPU, GPU optimizations, deferred reflection probes, and upgraded particle systems. Now, the difference between Unity 5.0 to 5.4, you might not think a lot has changed, but when you take all of this into account from 5.0 to 5.4, it's been a continuous and dramatic improvement over the last 12 months. Let's show you a video to show you the difference between 5.4 and 5.0 just in the last 12 months. Can we roll that? Dramatic music. And then there's IL2 CPP. Provides the ease of use and productivity of C# with the performance of C++. It allows current productive scripting workflow to remain the same. But what we've achieved on heavily script-heavy games is a 200% to 300% performance improvement, a huge step forward on the technical side. And then there's Unity Cloud Build. This is where we basically take time and give it back to you as a developer. It automatically creates and distributes builds so you don't have to invest the time to do that. In the last year alone, we calculate we've saved our developers over 600,000 hours, time that they can invest in building better games. And another hard problem, debugging. 5.2 brought us out-of-the-box support for debugging your project with Visual Studio. You can now write code and find problems easier, faster, better. Out of the box, no plugins required. And then on the AR and VR front, a year ago we were bringing you plugins, starting with Oculus. Since then, we've optimized substantially and working hard to ensure that all of the major platforms are supported and optimized for optimal rendering on each individual platforms. From Oculus to HoloLens, PlayStation VR to Gear, Steam VR. Once again, Unity allows you to say, and. You can have it all. Now I'd like to turn to 2016 and talk a little bit about our focus areas for this year. And I'm going to start with an area that I think is probably top of mind with all of you, quality. We did a huge amount, a lot of new feature improvement in 2015, but we realized some of this was at the expense of stability. So today I'm making a different announcement than you might have expected. I'm not announcing the launch of 5.4. I'm announcing the launch of 5.3.4 in a fully stable release. Fully stable release. So, to make the point clear, 5.3.4 is fully stable, ready to use, and it's time to upgrade. Now, we're also releasing 5.4 in a public beta. Now, we're changing our approach to betas. A couple of things. One, all personal edition users globally can now use 5.4, which means they can pound on it. A lot more projects will get built, and we'll get useful information to ensure when it's ready to be released, it too will be fully stable. This is a new approach to releases at Unity and one we think is the right thing to do for our developers on a global basis. Now, onward onto 2016, graphics. We continue to invest in moving the ball forward on graphics. And one of the things, if you want to get a sense of this, I encourage you to go down to the GDC floor and look for our team from Paris. Sebastian's here, along with a number of his key guys. You'll see some amazing work on advanced particles, lighting, and photogrammetry, some of the world's most leading-edge technologies being brought into Unity. And of course, Joachim and Lucas will show you later this morning a bunch of other new things on the graphics side. But just pause for a moment and think about one example. Metal for iOS was a huge step forward. We've continued to invest in that. And now we're bringing Metal support for Mac OS X. And of course, we're supporting DirectX for Windows, DirectX 12 for Windows. Efficiency. What we mean here is how easy it is to use the editor, the UI, the ease of use of Unity. We continue to make big investments here. It gets better every day. But one of the biggest problems people have is working in teams. It's hard to share, save, and sync when you're working on a project in a large team or even a small team, especially when you're in multiple locations. Today, we're launching into beta Unity to Collaborate, a tool to solve exactly that big problem. And Suhail, one of our executives, will be up on stage shortly to describe exactly how that works. Now, another issue that we've heard a lot about is workflow for artists. Now, due to a change in the standard shading model, first introduced in 5.3 and improved in 5.4, artists can now achieve consistent visual results with third-party 3D texturing software such as Substance Painter or Quixel Suite. 3D textured assets can basically be dropped and dragged into Unity with predictable and consistent results. And as always, there are new platforms to master. And this is an area where we excel and we love it. We're announcing support for Microsoft HoloLens. That ships on March 30th at the Microsoft Build Conference. We've announced support at the Vision Conference a week ago, or a week and a half ago, for Cardboard. But we've also got integration for Steam VR. We're supporting NVIDIA VRWorks, including VR SLI and multi-resolution shading, AMD Liquid VR, so developers can now use the latest and optimized GPU capabilities for better VR experiences. And we're announcing support for Fire OS. So literally, any platform you can think of optimized through Unity. That's an amazing chart, and it gets bigger every day. So 2015 was a huge year. 2016 will be an even bigger year. Heavy focus this year is on the core engine, on stability, so you've got the environment to build and you can count on. And as always, we're principles first, developers first. We're about democratization, we're about solving hard problems, and we're about enabling your success. And with that, I'd like to ask Lucas to come on stage and take you through more of what we're doing in 2016.
buddy. Hey, everyone. Hey, that's me. Last year, Unity introduced Unity Multiplayer Beta. It's our attempt to help Unity developers create multiplayer games by making the creation of these games easier and a more pleasurable experience. Ever since we shipped the beta last year, we've seen more than 5,000 projects try it out, and those projects totaled for about 1.4 million game sessions so far. There's a whole bunch of games in production already using multiplayer, our multiplayer service that was in beta. Premium Pool, Super Dungeon Bros, TerraTech, The Ship Remastered. I almost misspelled that one. But I got quickly corrected right before I went going on stage. Satellite Rain, Gang Beasts. And I'm very happy to say that as of today, we're removing the beta label from our service, and our service is open to hosting your live games. In fact, two of these games are already live on Unity's multiplayer service today. Premium Pool and The Ship Remastered. Remastered. Got it. Remastered. Stay with me here. Okay, as John mentioned, Unity 5 was an enormous step up in terms of graphics quality that you can achieve with Unity. And as we are on this road towards making Unity not only a great tool for programmers, but have it also be a great tool for artists, one of the things that we've been working on is a new suite of cinematic image effects. So these image effects, they're actually not burned into the engine. They're just sets of shaders and scripts that you can choose to use in your project or not. You can choose to use them all, out of the box as we make it and just drop them in, or you can use them as a starting point for your own effects. We are developing these for desktop and for mobile. Many of the effects actually have 2 or 3 different quality settings so that you can do a depth of field on desktop, but maybe do a lower quality version on mobile. And you can actually already get your hands on these cinematic image effects today. We are still making them better. We're still adding new ones. But you can get them today. You can download them from our repository, and I suggest that you check them out. Now, while we are on the topic of making Unity be a great tool for artists, I'd like to take a moment and show a demo that really illustrates what a team of really talented artists can actually squeeze out of Unity today. And the demo I'm about to show is a Unity project that I'm going to run as a standalone player on this PC here, and it's rendering this demo in real time. Let's take a look. Shall I run it again? No, sorry. I don't want to, though. I love showing this demo. I love showing the demo because it's such a good showcase of what a group of really talented artists can actually achieve with Unity today. But I also love it because it's such a good showcase to show like the extensibility of Unity's graphics pipeline. So this demo actually uses many of the image effects that come from the cinematic image effects suite that I just mentioned that you can try out today. And on top of using these out-of-the-box image effects from the suite, they've also decided to implement a few of their own graphics effects and image effects. And again, these are not effects and things that are burned into the engine or that you require to be part of Unity of or to be able to make. This is just a team that use Unity, and all these effects are scripts and shaders. Just scripts and shaders. Anyone can make them. All right, so one of the things that I want to do is actually take a look at one of the scenes from the demo and sort of dissect it to see what kind of image effects and techniques have actually been used, and to see how this sort of like high-quality cinematic feel actually is composed, and to see which of these effects you might be able to use in your own projects. So before I actually go do that, I want to do one thing. I want to open up this project in the editor, because I could stand here all day and say, yeah, real time, real time, real time. But there's nothing that really drives that point home than actually just showing this demo running in the editor. You'll notice actually that it renders in two viewports here. So it's kind of double real time. We have the game view on the right, and we actually have the scene view on the left. And notice that while the demo plays, I can still navigate the scene view. It's still very responsive. You'll actually notice that the scene view looks almost as pretty as the game view. That's actually a new feature in the Unity 5.4 beta that you can also get today. It's the ability to have image effects not only apply to the game view, but also to the scene view. And I can actually scrub around here a little bit. I think it can also scrub. Yeah, I can scrub while playing as well. Actually, I want to show this one. I want to show this one thing. Like here at the end, where he goes out. This scene, this is about 500 of these robot dudes walking around. I think the highest LOD one has, I don't know, 120, 130 bones or something. Funny story, actually, the guy that did this scene, he mentioned that there was actually more than enough performance room to put even more robots in, but he didn't have enough physical space, like the concrete slab that he modeled couldn't actually fit the additional robots, so he had to give up on that. Okay, so much for this one. Let me close this one down and show a scene that we've prepared to show us some of these image effects. So, why is this not working? Oh. All right, here we go. So this is the room that our sort of like friendly neighborhood robot human dude just woke up in. Let's take a quick look. There's some of these tube lights things here going on. There's this nice volumetric fog. There's some lights at the top there. And what I want to do is I'm actually going to disable this camera. I'm going to switch to a camera that has none of these effects enabled so that we can sort of see, we're going to try to like recreate this image effects stack ourselves. So let's turn it on. Notice actually, like if you turn off all the effects, how suddenly it doesn't look all that hot anymore. So like it really shows that that effects like this really help a lot in terms of adding atmosphere and that really nice cinematic look. So let's start. The first one I want to show you is ambient occlusion. This is an effect that comes from the cinematic image effects suite. Let me turn that on. So what it does is it adds shadows to hard to reach places, and it's a subtle effect. So sometimes it's a little bit hard, maybe even on the big monitor too, to see what it's doing. So we have this debug visualizer that you can turn on, so that it's really clear how much shadow this effect is contributing to the scene. So I'll be a bit modest. I think I like it like this. Turn that off. Yeah, that sounds about good. So this effect you can download today. Works on mobile and on desktop. So the next effect I have here is volumetric fog. This one's actually not part of the cinematic image effect suite. This is one of the effects that the team that made the demo decided to build themselves. Again, it's not built into the engine. They just decided to make this effect, which I think looks really nice, with a shader and a script. So as you'll see, this volumetric fog, it really contributes a lot to the lighting in the scene. If you look closely, I'm not sure if you can see it well, you can actually see that there's a little bit of like wind and noise going through the fog. You can see the light at the top shooting these God rays through. I'm not going to go really into depth into this one because it's not part of the suite, but I'm sure there's a slider I can jack out. There you go. There we are. Okay, so the next one I want to show is bloom. So bloom, what it does, it takes bright parts of the image and it bleeds them out. So if I jack it up a bit here, you can see the effect. Actually, one of the parts that's hardest, or that I find hardest when you build image effect stacks like this, especially if you're not blessed with an enormous amount of artistic talent, such as myself, is to actually keep these effects a little bit modest and not jack up all these sliders to 11 all the time, although it's very tempting to do that. I'm going to apply some moderation to myself, though, so I'm going to make it a little bit less here. So this bloom effect, it also comes from the cinematic image effect suite, mobile and desktop, I think with different quality levels. The next one I want to show is depth of field. I really like this one, and I found like a really nice place in the scene to show it. Like if we go behind this metal thing here. So what depth of field does is it makes things that are close by blurry and things that are far away. So if I turn that on, you see that it blurs it blurs this thing really way too much. So I'm going to turn on this visualizer again. And the way this visualizer works is that things that are yellow will become blurry because they're close by, and things that are blue will become blurry because they're far away. And then you can sort of mess around with these sliders a little bit. Here we go. There's a little bit of blue. So if I turn it on like this, it will, it's probably like it's incredibly blurry everywhere. And then you can just, you can apply as much subtlety as you want. I'm going to try. I think I'm going to try to not have anything in the back, and then make the blur on the nearby stuff rather modest like that. Here we are. I really like the look of this effect, especially like when the camera moves around. This effect is also part of the cinematic image effect suite. It's best on desktop. It also works on mobile, but it's relatively expensive. But on high-end mobile, you can pull it off. The next one I want to show you is tone mapping color grading. So let me turn that on. So color grading, as I've recently turned out, that's just what graphics people say when they mean like Instagram for games. No offense to graphics people in the room. Basically, you get 3 of these color modifiers. You have one that allows you to modify the colors of dark places and shadows. I'll take a little bit of blue. And then you have the midtones. I like some green for that. And then maybe some yellow for the highlights. And then I guess whenever I'm done with stuff like that, I have to tone it down a little bit. And just as Instagram can make your mom's photo pictures look like, talent, this effect, it can really make okay content look good, and it can make good content look great. This is also an effect, part of the cinematic image effect suite. You can download today, mobile and desktop. And notice how we started from a scene that, that was, let's just say it didn't look all that good, and it's starting to really, get a different atmosphere and vibe. And the last image effect that I want to show is the lens aberration over here. This actually has 2 effects in it. One is distortion that people tell me that customers ask for. I have no idea why, because if you use it, I have no idea why you would use this. I don't like it, but we made it, but I'm going to turn it off, because I don't like it. I like the vignette. Hey, to each their own, So it's, I'm not sure how to really explain vignette other than showing it, so I'm going to crank it up. This is basically what it does. So I'm going to move that down a little bit, maybe take a little bit warmer color. and try to just make the effect a little subtle. Here we go. All right, so that already looks quite a bit better. I'm sure that if you put a talented artist, behind these buttons, they would make it look nicer. But I'm I'm quite happy with it. All right, so that's an overview of the post-processing image effects used here. And there's one more sneak peek I would actually like to show you, because as Sean already mentioned, this year we've been able to attract some top talent from the graphics research field. And one of the things our new graphics lab came up with was a very interesting new way to do real-time area lights that are very performant and very good-looking. So this is all completely in a very early graphics research stage. Nothing is close to shipping. However, as a testament to Unity's extensibility, the team that made this demo, they actually liked the research so much that they figured, why don't we try to mock up a quick implementation of this new technique? And that's actually what they did. So if you look at this light that comes from the top here, that shines through the what is it, like the metal thing? You have all these God rays going through the volumetric fog. Notice how you get this really nice specular on the bottom here. So this is not a new built-in feature of Unity, although maybe one day we'll ship it as one. This is just the team that made the demo. They saw a great new idea in graphics research, and they decided, well, why don't I just implement that? So that really shows that the power that Unity 5's graphics pipeline brings is just the start and the foundation on which you can use to build your own really amazing graphics. I want to, because I like them so much, I want to mess around with this area lights a bit more. So I threw in a few here. Let me turn those on. And let me switch to the scene view. So these are two of these area lights. Notice that you have these really nice speculars on the ground. Maybe we should check if they're if they are really real time. So maybe I could light the scene there with them. Oh, look, that works. I can also let me maybe make this one a little bit red, and this one maybe I don't know, yellow. Any ideas? Maybe yellow. Let's try that. You can also change their, you can change their size here. I can duplicate them. Here we go. And actually, one really nice thing that I liked what they did here is that they also added the ability for these area lights to actually not only influence the lighting on the nearby surfaces that you see on the bottom here, but to actually also shine light into this volumetric fog that I mentioned before. So to really exaggerate that effect, like if I really fire this one up, and look here, you'll see that the area lights actually light up the fog here, which actually makes the wind and the noise in the fog really come out. Let me do that for this one as well. Where is it? Here. Yeah, like that. So while I don't really actually want to show, like this is an area lights feature. What I really want to show is that if you have something like these area lights, which is state-of-the-art in graphics research, that any team could actually implement that on top of Unity's very extendable graphics pipeline. All right, I think with that, I want to ask Joachim to come on stage, because he has a thing or two to say about artist productivity as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas. So with Unity 5, we added Geomerics Enlighten support to Unity. And Enlighten is a really awesome system for doing real-time GI. And in the last year, some really great content has been built with those real-time GI features. One of them, Pamela, we will also show a bit more in detail later on. So Enlighten is really good for any kind of dynamic lighting. When you want to have a time of day effect where the sun is moving and the bounce lighting is updating consistently and just everything looks really nice and everything is real time. Or you want to have animated emissive surfaces or a really cool looking bounce light from spotlights, these kind of things. But a lot of content, especially for mobile or VR, doesn't need those real-time GI capabilities. Sometimes you just want to bake completely static light maps. For example, so it runs very fast at runtime with everything just completely baked out. Or you might just want to get some super high resolution baked light maps out. And so taking those real-time GI capabilities and using it to bake static light maps puts a lot of technical constraints on artists. And for that reason, we decided to create a new dedicated static light map baking technology. And we partnered with Imagination Technologies on building this brand new progressive light mapper. It is based on their OpenRL technology, and for the last year, we have collaborated with them on building this new light map baking technology that really brings light mapping workflows to the next level. So I want to show you a little bit about how that works. So this is a scene that I got from the asset store, not something we specifically crafted for this demo. It's an art package called Multi-Story Dungeons by Mana Station. And I simply took it, turned all the lights in the scene to be fully baked lights, and using this new progressive light mapper. So when you bake light maps, you get really nice results, but it usually takes a very long time to actually update, and your iteration time is slowed down. You move a light, and you have to wait for several minutes or hours for it to really complete. So it's very hard to iterate with. But what I can do in this new system, I can simply take this light here, and Unity automatically figures out what exactly has changed, and it starts updating what is visible on screen. And you can see the shadows, they are a little bit noisy in the beginning, and it just keeps on iterating and improving the lighting, especially in the area that is visible on the screen. So I can just tweak things, change things. Unity automatically figures out what has changed. And then when I zoom out here, you can see Unity has first started baking the things that were actually visible. But even on this big level here, very quickly I get an overview of all the lighting, how it looks in this level, and I get a very good picture of the final result, and it just keeps on improving and improving until it completes. So if I go to a different area here, the really cool thing is I can basically change anything. I can take these objects, move them around like this, add some new ones. So these are static objects, and it takes a bit of time, and then it starts baking it, and now it's just improving on the result, and just it keeps getting better and better. And at some point, it's done, it's complete. The rest of the level will bake. It will keep on baking for a bit longer, but it's done. So this is really amazing to work with for artists. And this progressive light map baking technology really is the fastest way to iterate on light mapped levels. So this is a feature that we are planning to introduce into the 5.4 beta as an experimental feature. So with that, I'd like to welcome Clive, who will tell us more about what the community has achieved in the last year. There you go.
Good to see you. That's nice. That's me. Thanks, Joachim. Hey, everyone. In the front end, John talked about the 3 principles that drive us every day, and I want to talk about the third one, which is enabling developer success. I'm kind of lucky to get up here and talk about that, because it's really on behalf of your success that I'm here to talk about some of the amazing things that you, the developers who've chosen Unity, have achieved in the last 12 months. And for me, that really speaks to a number of things, but the best way to demonstrate it is numbers. And these numbers represent a real sliver of the success you've achieved, because I'm going to pull out some of the mobile success. And I know that you all make other games, you make games on other formats, on PC and console, but I'm going to really shine a light on some of the mobile success today, and then through that, show you how we're thinking about enabling success more in 2016. So the first number I want to show to you is this one. Now, since the last GDC in March 2015, you guys who have developed on mobile have achieved mobile downloads of your games of 12.2 billion. 12.2 billion downloads of Unity-powered mobile games. Yeah, I think that's probably worth some huge applause. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. So well done. Congratulations. I like to have some fun with numbers. Who doesn't? Maybe some people don't, but I do. And it gets even more spectacular when you break it down. That's on average about 23,211 downloads a minute over the last 12 months. And it's 386 downloads a second of your Unity-powered games on mobile. Now, that's impressive on its own. What's more impressive is when I tell you that actually you guys developing on mobile saw your biggest month ever just in this last February, when we saw the biggest month ever of mobile downloads for Unity-powered games of 1.4 billion, which actually puts that number up to 578 a second. So congratulations. 578 downloads a second. Now, that number, whilst great on its own, 12.2 billion, 578 a second, but they're just numbers, and they don't count for much unless the human beings downloading those, the gamers downloading those, are enjoying the games, they're playing the games every day, they're coming back every day, they're telling their friends, and they're driving more success for you. And I think a way of expressing that is definitely happening is this. At the beginning of 2015, those games of yours, those Unity-powered mobile games, accounted for 25% of the top 1,000 grossing mobile games on the planet. And that growth that you saw meant that by the end of the year, it had gone up to 30. So 1 in 3 of the top 1,000 grossing mobile games on the planet were powered by you and the Unity games that you had created. So huge. Congratulations. Now, on top of that growth and that success that we've been trying to enable for you, we've also been thinking about new ways to provide new levels of success. How can we make you succeed in other areas of your production process and workflows? How can we make you succeed in other areas of the live game lifecycle? And we created a couple of new products to do that in 2015, and I want to talk about the success that those had. The first one was Unity Analytics. Now, Unity Analytics had an amazing year. 60,000 apps have enabled analytics, with 2,000 new games being added each week as the adoption increases. If you want to know how a game is performing, so you can optimize your time, that most valuable of your commodities, then Unity Analytics is so easy to set up. You just integrate it directly from the editor, you flick a switch, and bang, you've got the opportunity to use Unity Analytics and drive data from these 600 million events and more that are captured every day. And fed back to Unity developers so you can really sharpen and optimize the decisions you're making. Now, through the number of devices that we're seeing globally as a result of the scale of those made with Unity games, we can provide the very best insight to developers on what devices to optimize for by region and by category. In Q1 of this year, the Unity network saw 1.5 billion unique devices. Unique devices. Now, John Cheng is going to come up later, the General Manager of Analytics, and he's going to talk to you specifically about this device intelligence feature that we have that we're layering onto analytics. Now, nothing enables success for developers after the production of a great game like providing a quick and valid revenue stream to pay you back some of that money that you've focused on development, unlocking the value in what often in mobile can be a free consumer base. And we created Unity Ads to do just that, to enable revenue quick and early. And the growth of the integration of Unity Ads, again, has been pretty spectacular, 600% since last GDC, and it's showing us that a native integration is a strong proposition for developers looking for ease of use and some hand-holding when it comes to the science of perfect ad placement that doesn't damage revenue, that doesn't damage retention, that doesn't damage engagement, and ultimately doesn't annoy gamers. So 126,000 publishers have integrated Unity Ads through their games and are driving impressions daily for our video ad network. And those valuable impressions to games are driving advertiser growth. There's been this 380% growth in advertisers since last GDC. 6,500 advertisers now use the reach of that vast impression load of Unity Ads to bring a new audience, a valid new audience of players into their games every single day. And it's not just centric to the US. We're not just focused on the Western markets. We're really excited that we've started broadening the reach of our impressions load in the last 2015. So as an example, we grew the Asia-Pacific share of the impressions within the network from 11% to 23% of the total impressions during 2015. So it's a global video ad network that does not impact retention, that does not impact engagement, and that delivers actually some quite spectacular average revenue per daily active users at the high end. So the best performing games in the ad network are seeing average revenue per daily active user increases of 15 cents being driven by those ads in their product, in their games. And I think the success that we're providing is best summed up with this simple yet powerful fact. In 2015, we paid out to Unity ad publishers more revenue in total than Unity made in licensing revenue from the Unity engine. Just think about that. So that ratio of enabling success is we're really excited about it and we're driving it. So what else are we talking about? Let's talk about the asset store. Now the asset store is a place that's very special to us. We understand the value that it can bring and the success that it can bring to developers who are looking for great assets to optimize your time in making the products that you want. We respect what it is, and we know how it can give a head start on optimizing your time and getting you to creativity early. We also realize that it's an outlet for creators to share and make some revenue from their work. The asset store ended 2015 with 25,000 available free and paid assets. And those free assets within that 25,000 were downloaded the volume of 1 million free asset downloads a month to power new creativity. And almost 750,000 assets were purchased by developers in 2015, the paid assets. Those 6,000 paid publishers who are creating assets to sell on the store to other people in the Unity development community, they made close to an average of $4,000 of incremental revenue. And some of the top publishers are making six-figure amounts from the work that they're doing in the asset store. The asset store remains an investment focus for us, and we're adding functionality every single quarter through our very transparent and visible roadmap that keeps us honest on unity3d.com. Now, one of the features that we're really excited about, though, is our new affiliate program. If you're a website, you can sign up to be an affiliate and receive a share of all sales to customers that you send to the asset store within a 24-hour period. And if you're a publisher, you can benefit from the broader reach and discovery of your assets because these websites, these affiliate websites, will be broadcasting them. And if you're a game developer wanting to know about the best assets out there that match your desires for creativity, you can benefit from the affiliates giving exposure to the assets that are used to make great things. The program's in the final stages of testing, and it will be live soon. If you're interested in becoming an affiliate and pioneering this with us, we're taking pre-registrations now. Just go to this site, register, and we'll come back to you in the coming weeks when we're live. Okay, Made with Unity. Now, we launched this initiative in Boston in September at Boston Unite. It's a new initiative that's just the start of our journey to try and solve the hardest problem yet that we think we need to solve, discovery. From a zero start some months ago, we've created a destination site that's viewed by hundreds of thousands per month. Over 100 stories from the community have already been created, and over 1 million pages are being viewed and shared by a growing community every month. This is a start. We have more to share on Discovery, and we can't wait to tell you about it in the coming months. Now, at the core, it's just all about games. So after the numbers, after the stats, it's all about games and celebrating the success of those games, both commercially and critically. We love games. Everyone in this room loves games. If not, you're in the wrong room. I love games. I'm playing Super Hot right now. Who's playing Super Hot? Anyone played Super Hot? Just loving Super Hot. Loving Super Hot. Super Hot. And so we love the critical and commercial success that you've achieved with Unity over the last year, and that you're starting to show even into 2016, whether it's on 2D, with some spectacular indie hits on mobile and PC, the quite beautiful Prune that shows the simplest concepts can inspire and delight, the RPG saga of a Moon Hunter, and the super fun Knights and Bikes that certainly reminded me of what it's like to be a kid in the 1980s. Damn, that was tough. On 3D, The Room came back with a third chapter that just stretched the edges of imagination. Love that. Homeworld roared back with a new version, and Firewatch showed that the environment can be the star. And then VR. And despite us being in the nascent stages, some of the games already being conceived, produced, and launched are showing the promise of the technology that will define the future of interaction. If you haven't seen Budget Cuts as an example, head to the Unity booth on the floor and check it out. We're showing Budget Cuts there, and it's a truly exemplary product of kind of the pioneering spirit of best in class on VR. So, enabling success is what we like doing for everyone who touches Unity, and you've achieved so much in the past 12 months. And we can't do it without you, the world of developers who choose our tool to bring your ideas to life. You guys are the most important people to us, and we exist to make your lives better, to enable your success. And in 2016, we're doing something to celebrate that union of people. That's a clap for these guys, the Northway Studios. In 2016, we're celebrating that union of people, the game makers, you guys, and your Made with Unity games by bringing developers to life in our branding. And this is a sneak peek. We're going to use this branding and this style everywhere we are. It's our way of focusing on the most important part of game making. It's our way of focusing on the most important part of game making, the actual game makers. You guys who dare to make a difference, to experiment, to try and succeed on your terms. So, to the millions of you guys and girls out there, and the thousands that download and start on the Unity journey every single day, we want to say thank you, we love you, and here's to a great 2016 full of success. Thank you. Now, I'm moved over here so you think it's a different person. It's actually still me. I'm still here. Now, we want to do something that we actually started at Boston Unite, I think, which is just showcase games. We make them every day. We love them, and we want to showcase games here. We've got 3 games to showcase for you today. The first is the next version in a beloved, truly epic in scale global franchise that you'll all know and have seen, and many of you will have played over its life. And we're going to run a video that celebrates that and shows it to you now. So let's go.
Bejeweled has been around for 15 years. It was the original Match 3. When we thought about making a new Bejeweled, we wanted something that would be innovative while still being true to the history and playfulness of the brand.
We have a really rich history in the team and how they think about Bejeweled. So Bejeweled Skies is definitely a blend of things that we've learned about Bejeweled fans over the last 15 years.
We wanted to be different. We wanted to put the power back in the hands of the player.
Clouds, you can pick them up and move sections of the board at one time.
Glaciers move entire sections of the board in a predetermined path, so I can then anticipate where this group of gems will be next. So the Power Lab is where players get to make their own powers. As I'm playing Match 3, Sky Gems will drop into every level, and I can collect these.
So if I'm a player that likes to have big explosions in my game, I can use flame swappers and create lots and lots of flame gems.
Bejeweled Skies is really about playing your way. When you play, you can choose to employ board mechanics that are unique to how you want to make your strategy come alive.
We care so deeply about the players and what they love about Bejeweled and what we feel like they're missing. So our hope is that Bejeweled Skies gives them the most perfect match 3 present that we could ever give.
It's been a while since we've released a new Bejeweled game, but I think it's time. Players are ready for the next chapter of Bejeweled, and this is it.
So thanks to PopCap and EA for sharing that little sneak preview today. Now I'd like to welcome Megan Stewart to the stage. Megan's our head of global education, and Megan's going to talk you through a new initiative we're really excited to share with you.
Thank you.
Megan, there you go.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Megan. So I'm excited to be here today to tell you about a new program we have. We believe in democratizing games globally to inspire students, high school and college, to create great technology. And as John says, and our company really believes, that the world is a better place with more creators. And globally, people agree with us. The global leaders agree with us. See? It was nice of him to give us that quote. Legal stuff, though, was tough. So this is really exciting. You guys have been asking us for this, but we are announcing our new certification programs. And our first offering is the Unity Certified Developer. And that is an exam that we will be having here on site. And it is challenging. I might actually say it's hard. You can ask some of our evangelists and engineers. That is definitely not an easy beginner level. So I throw that out as a challenge to you. And I hope you guys will challenge yourself with this, because it really is the whole breadth of experience that it is testing. It is testing game production, both from the design side and the programming side. So again, we want this to be a credential that you can go out with and show that you understand the breadth of knowledge around Unity skills and help you get a job. Excited, yay! So we're not just going to throw it out there and hope that you guys pass it. We actually have a lot of resources that we've created. You can go up to our website. You can see the test exam items, so you can understand what's on there. You can also see content that we're going to have out there, our whole online course that will be available soon, and that will help prepare students and for professionals to go and take the test. So we did this because we want to support students to be able to validate their skills and have a credential and have in their portfolio proof and example to show employers that they understand the skills and have the experience to go right into the workforce. And we also really wanted to support educators to help them build world-class programs that really do align with the industry. We worked very closely with industry and education to build these programs and the exams. And for And for the industry, we heard you loud and clear, and that you wanted to have some ability to assess skills and to be able to have confidence that people with this type of credential would be prepared to go into the workforce. And obviously, we know hiring is always a challenge, so we hope that when these individuals, and hopefully many of you, come out of GDC and take this exam, that will really strengthen the workforce and the opportunity to have more skilled people. So this is just the beginning. We have a whole range of different programs we're coming out with. Obviously, there is a lot of nuances and a lot of specialities that are around the game development industry, and so you'll be hearing a lot more about that from us shortly. But the first one is the developer certification. So this is a global program. And you're probably wondering, then where can you get it? So it's going to be at many of our Unity shows globally, so different road shows, of course the Ignites, and you can go on our website and you can see the different regions that it's going to be available, and you'll actually even be able to take it live online eventually, so it's actually going to be rolled out later this spring. And so we want to make that available to as many people as possible, and for you to be able to take it to, again, get a credential, to be able to go out and again, show proof of the skills that you've learned in the game development industry with Unity. So, like I said, you can get certified here. There's no way we were going to miss this opportunity with the largest concentration of Unity skilled people to offer this exam. So you can go online and sign up. You can find out more at the booth. And again, it is not that easy. It's definitely challenging, but I throw that down as a gauntlet to challenge all of you to take this test and show up with these awesome T-shirts that we have if you actually take the test. And we can see from one of our the very first certified developer that we have, Carl. Thank you, Vanna. Again, no pressure. And if you buy me a beer at the party, I will tell you what score Carl got, and all the rest of the engineers. Just kidding. So again, we hope you guys will sign up for this. We'll have the workshops all week. And again, we have not just Carl, but quite a few new first, global certified Unity developer people here at the show. You'll see them in these shirts. Again, we would like to see you guys in these shirts walking around. And I challenge you to all go out and show your mad skills of Unity technologies. So thank you. Oh, and I'd like to introduce my colleague, Suhail.
Thanks, Megan. So, as John mentioned earlier, we've spent a considerable amount of time with you, our customers, understanding what it takes to build these amazing games with Unity as a team. And you've told us that you needed two key things. Simplicity, so you can focus on what's most important, your game, and collaboration for the entire team. Developers, designers, artists, and testers. So I want you to keep these two things in mind as I give you a demo of Unity Collaborate that we launched in beta today. So right here, I have a project I've been working on. And this is a beautiful made with Unity game called Burly Men at Sea, thanks to David and Brooke. They actually might be in the audience. You should check it out after. But anyway, for the purposes of this, let's assume I'm working on it. And let me show you how easy it is to get started with Unity Collaborate. So I go up here to the toolbar. I click Start Now. So this tells Unity to start monitoring my projects and my files. And in just a minute there, it gives me the ability to publish. I click that. And it starts to save those files to the cloud. So let's say I'm a solo developer working on this game by myself, and I want easy, secure backup. I'm done. No more configuration, no more setup, no more accounts. Just like that, my project is saved. Any changes I make are saved. Really simple. But let's say you start to see some success, your team needs to grow. So I'm going to add a team member to this project. So I go right here to Unity, I click Go to Dashboard. Now your dashboard is this central place where you can manage all your projects and also all the services that go along with those projects. I'm going to go to the Users tab, and right there, I've heard Vanilla likes collaboration quite a bit, so gonna add him. Just like that, I've added him to the project. So now, if he was to open Unity, he can download the project, he can download the files, he can make changes, and at the same time, I can stay in sync with those changes. That easy. So let's fast forward a week or so. I'm at GDC, hanging out with you fine folks, while my team, they're hard at work, right? So I go back, I open up Unity, and then using this team activity window, at a glance, I can see the changes they made, what they've been up to. I see right here that Arissa has made this scene 1,000% manlier. Okay, I can look at that change, I can see what files she's modified, and clicking Update pulls those changes down. And there we go. We see the visual change on the scene. We at Unity love blacksmiths, so we got to throw them in all the time. So that's super easy. You can go back and forth. You can preview changes. Simple. So let's say you get to the point now that you want to share this game with your testers. We've already talked about the awesomeness of Cloud Build. And let me show you how easy it is to set that up. I go right here, click Configure Now. This takes me back to the dashboard we showed you earlier. And normally, I'd have a couple of steps to set this up. But here, I just pick the platform, I click Next, and I'm done setting up Cloud Build for this project. They work seamlessly together. They work hand in hand, chocolate, peanut butter, along with me with my game for the journey of that. So let's go forward a little bit. Here's a project that has Cloud Build running. And you'll notice in that same team activity window, I've got build statuses. So I'll click on one of these successful builds. That brings up the page where my builds are available. And I click one here, I click Share. And that gives me a link I can send to my testers. I take a picture of this QR code on my phone. I send it to my mom. She loves games too. Friends, family. That easy to share with everyone. So I've shown you how simple and easy it was to get started, how you could add people to your project and work with them, and then how easy it was to share your game with your testers. I've got some homework. Go to this URL. Collaborate is in beta today. Sign up. Give us your feedback. Come talk to us at the Unity booth. We'd love to give you more details. Thanks.
Thanks, man. Going that way. Thanks, Suhail. So, I talked earlier about how we're in the nascent stages of this explosion of VR content, and there's pioneers out there who are just really showing the path forward on what's possible. I want to introduce now our second Made with Unity showcase of the day, and to tell you all about it is Vicky Ferguson from Ubisoft's Funhouse division. Vicky.
Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to be here today to tell you about Eagle Flight and how Unity helped make it possible. So actually, I've been in AAA game development for over 12 years now. And after I finished my last project, I really didn't know what I was going to do next. I wanted to do something exciting and challenging, but I didn't know what it was going to be. So I went on vacation. And when I came back, I had an email from our game director, Olivier Palmieri, who's sitting right over here. And he said, I have a VR headset on my desk. And I really think this is going to be the future. You got to come try this. So I went to his desk, and I tried a little experience that was made in Unity called Welcome to Oculus. Maybe some of you guys know it. It's actually really simple. Sorry. It's actually a really simple experience, but it completely blew my mind. Despite the graphics being very basic, the level of immersion and engagement was beyond what I ever thought was possible. And it was that day that I decided I had to work in VR. So I joined up with Olivier and a few other people, and we started making prototypes in Unity. So we were trying to solve the motion sickness problem. How do you move throughout a large virtual world and not make the user uncomfortable? So we made a lot of prototypes, and we did a lot of play testing, but we just kept coming back to this one prototype that we'd made called Eagle Flight, where you're an eagle and you're flying over Paris and just experiencing the thrilling sensation of flight. So we joined up with a division of Ubisoft Montreal called the Funhouse that focuses on making smaller, innovative experiences that are up to the quality level that you expect from Ubisoft. We ended up taking our prototype to E3 and Gamescom behind closed doors last year, and we got a really, really great response, so we decided we had to make a full game out of it. So actually, a lot of the teams at the Funhouse use Unity right now. Just because if you're a small team and you want to innovate, you need to iterate really quickly. And that's never so important as it is in virtual reality, because a lot of the paradigms that you're used to from game development, they just simply don't apply in VR anymore. So you have to try stuff, and you have to try stuff quickly. So being able to prototype in the headset in the editor is super important. There's also a big developer community working in VR and Unity, and basically, having a common platform and having common goals helps us all push the medium forward together. In addition, Unity supports pretty much right out of the box the 3 platforms that we were interested in, the Oculus Rift, the HTC Vive, and PlayStation VR. So anytime a new SDK comes out, we don't have to worry about it. We just grab a new version of Unity, and we can focus on what's important, which is making the game fun. So to summarize, Unity allows us to do our jobs more easily, more effectively, and more efficiently. So now I'd like to show you some gameplay from Eagle Flight. So in Eagle Flight, you play as an eagle flying over the city of Paris 50 years after humans have disappeared. So vegetation's starting to take over, and animals are running through the streets. So the city really is your playground to soar through the skies and experience Paris from a vantage point you never could as a human in real life. The controls are really intuitive. You basically just look where you want to go. If you want to turn a little bit faster, you just tilt your head to the side and can do more than 360-degree turns without leaving your seat. So it's really intuitive and it's really precise. The game features multiplayer and single player. I'm going to show you some single player footage just coming right up. So this is one of our single player missions where some enemy birds have attacked your nest. And you need to defend your territory by shooting them out of the sky with your eagle yell. So that looks fun in single player. We also have a multiplayer mode where you can play with up to 3 versus 3 and join up with your friends to take over the skies of Paris. So we're coming out this year in 2016 for the Oculus Rift, the PSVR, and the HTC Vive. And actually, we're showing the multiplayer at the Ubisoft booth in the West Hall, 2nd floor. And we're also showing the single player at the Oculus GDC booth. So I really hope you guys can come and try out our game. Thanks.
Hi, I'm John Chang. I lead the team that's working on Unity Analytics. And what I'd love to share with you today is what Unity is doing to help unlock data, not just so developers can build better games, but also operate them more successfully after they're launched. So let's dive in. Unity Analytics was launched into beta early last year and was the first analytics solution ever to focus on just the most important development community out there, the Unity developers. Meaning that we haven't had to compromise when we've developed our platform or the features that we've selected for it. In fact, it's features like multi-platform that we launched with right out of the box because we knew how important it was for game developers, especially on Unity, to be able to use one tool, have their data in one place, and be able to do that very, very quickly. So as Unity has grown, Unity Analytics has grown right alongside with it. You'll see tvOS, you'll see all the new VR platforms. We'll talk a little bit more about those in a bit. But Unity supports all of them because we know it's important for the Unity developer. And it's this feedback from Unity developers that we've had every step of the way that's really driven our development. We were fortunate early enough to have leading developers such as Concrete Software, Fireproof Studio adopt us from day one, give us feedback, help us guide exactly what we wanted to build to make the most impact. And one thing that they told us was that general analytics solutions were basically just too general. There weren't enough game-specific tools that made an impact on game development. And so what you see here is one of the tools that we've focused on to change how game development is done, and that's our visual heat mapping tool, right? And what that does is take data and visualizes it within the actual game space so that you know where to focus on, whether to make a level harder, whether to add more zombies. And the pro tip from our data, you always want to add more zombies, right? But it's this game-specific tooling that has really changed the equation. And as we've introduced more and more of it, we've had even more leading developers hop on board and start to drive insights. Game Resort, Halfbrick, Madfinger are all studios that have not only adopted us, but really asked the question, what took so long to start to get going? And we all knew the answer to that. It's because nobody enjoys integrating SDK. It takes away time from actual game development, and it's just a pain to manage going forward. So what we've done, and I feel is one of the most revolutionary features that I've seen in my 8 years of developing analytics, is that we took the SDK and built it directly into the engine. And what that means from an integration perspective is that with one click, in case you missed it, we're pointing it out right there, you are now integrated with analytics, right? You have all the power of Unity Analytics baked with that one switch. Furthermore, because we're baked into the engine itself, we can run off the main thread, meaning that the performance impact is virtually zero. So you can imagine in high-performance environments, VR to be specific, where every frame matters and the resource requirements are so constrained, the Unity Analytics is going to be a solution that really addresses those needs. And we'll be talking more in the future about specifically analytics for VR. However, with that integration, because we made it literally no work to integrate, the number of titles on our platform has literally exploded. We're having thousands and thousands in sign up each week. And just since 5.2, which launched a couple months ago, we've had over 40,000 titles integrate. And it's the true testament to the support that we've had. And I want to thank the developers who've gotten on board with us, because what they have now done, and I've been told to really hit this point hard, we are now the #1 analytics solution for Unity developers everywhere. Right. The team couldn't be more proud and excited about this fact, and it's really caused us to double down our efforts and really focus on developing even more features. And so I've got a couple that I want to introduce today. They'll be available right after GDC, and it's some of the most requested features that we've had in the last couple months. Let's dive in. So the first is raw data export. And the concept is really simple here. What it is your data is yours, and you should have access to it in whatever form you want, when you want, how you want. However, to actually instrument that yourselves is much more complicated. Building the client code, building collectors, processing that, deduping, cleansing the data, putting it into a data warehouse so it's actually usable. Well, with raw data export, we once again have that one click, but we use the analytics integration, our processing infrastructure, and we allow you to select the data that you want, the time range you want it for, and directly download that with no work again, right? So focus on your game. Don't focus on trying to get access to your data, and be able to use your existing BI tools. We're really excited about this feature. Looking forward to seeing what you do with it. And this, as I mentioned, will be available right after GDC. The next feature I want to talk about is an extension of Unity IP. This was announced also in September, Unity IP itself. As background there, what Unity IP does is takes all that code that you need to write to support different stores that you want to monetize on, turns that dynamic on its head, and actually takes those APIs and maps them to our universal API, which means that you spend less time writing that type of code and studying IAP manuals and more time on your game. So that we've had an incredible response to. We've had over 5,000 developers sign up in the last couple months. Many of these are monetizing for the first time. And we couldn't be more excited to help them even more. What Cloud Catalog is it takes that same process to the actual virtual items that you're putting in your store. It takes that process of having to go to different admin dashboards, set up your catalog, and then repeating that process over and over again across a multitude of different stores. And in fact, offers you just one dashboard where we bring all of that together when you can administer your products. And it also includes the ability to track virtual items for players, including virtual item currencies, everything across the board. So as an example, imagine we have St. Patrick's Day come up. For some reason, zombies have overrun your game. You come up with an idea for a shamrock gun to turn them into gold. Well, typically, this would be a long release cycle and a lot of manual work. Instead, select the platforms you want to release on, a price, hit go, and it appears in your game. Super fast, super simple, and it allows really dynamic merchandising. All right, to be fair, that was actually the second most requested feature for IAP. The first was actually that we expand the number of platforms that we support. So happy to announce that. We're actually tripling the number of platforms we support. A lot of the most requested names are up there. As you find more places that you want to monetize the virtual items, our commitment to you is that we'll try and expand Unity IP to support that as well. So what we also want to announce now with the expansion of our platform, the usage that we've gotten, and the support from our developers, is that we're coming out of beta. So Unity Analytics is now available to everybody, and it's going to be free to use. All right, and so what that means is that based on your level of license, there'll be a Unity Analytics tier that corresponds to it. And before you try and squint at this eye chart, for everyone here at GDC, you're not going to get a Vive, but you are going to get Unity Analytics Pro if you sign up, all right? So encourage everyone to get out there. We will grandfather you in for the lifetime of your game because it's our commitment to you that Unity Analytics will be alongside to help you optimize your games and reach its full potential. And we couldn't be more excited to be here. So finally, just want to talk about what's coming up next. Everything that we've shown you talks about what you can do with your data and the insights that you can get from it, and that's definitely critical. However, I'm sure everyone realizes there are many challenges that sit outside of what your own data can tell you. And having access to real-time granular industry data is something that could be a game changer when you're making production decisions or really trying to run live ops. We here at Unity realize with access to billions and billions of downloads that this is a problem that we could potentially solve. However, let me pause here, right? So just to be clear, Unity holds the data that you share with us to be sacred and the privacy paramount. What we're talking about here is that with your participation, we will anonymize and aggregate this data and reveal it in real time to form the basis of insights that even the biggest developers in the world don't have access to. Because if we all work together, we as Unity have a bigger footprint than anyone else out there, right? So the first of these products that relies on this data is what we're calling device intelligence. As we've done with Unity Analytics, we're working with partners to make sure we shape and develop this in a way that's most impactful for you. And what I'd love to do now is welcome one of those partners up on stage, someone who's been really supportive, helped develop what we're trying to do with device intelligence, makers of one of the leading sports games out there. Please help me welcome Nikolai Chavik from Nordeus.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. It's really great to be here. Hi, everyone. So for those of you who may not be familiar with Nordeus, we are a European-based developer out of Belgrade, but also with offices in Dublin and London. And one of our games that we are really proud of is Top 11. It's a game where millions of players play football management, well, the best football management game in the world, and compete to be the best, right, in that. And I mean real football here, guys, or what you call soccer here. So, like any studio out there, we at Nordeus are constantly facing important development challenges. So for new games, how do we define the minimum specs to achieve a balance between the market reach on one hand and performance on the other? When we're expanding to a new market, how do we know what are the most popular devices to support within that market? And finally, we're all about offering a stellar gaming experience. And a big part of that is performance. So how can we as a company assess the market impact of performance issues? So to answer these hard questions, we really need the granular data about the global device landscape. And we were looking at a lot of tools on the market. And really, the device intelligence was the only solution that offered us the granular insights that we were looking for across all platforms, countries, and genres. And as you can see, the product allowed us to dive deep into the popularity of device hardware specs, such as memory, GPU, and the CPU. So one particular example was when we were trying to define the minimum specs on Android platform for one of our new titles that we are planning to release in the US. And the challenge here was to establish the right performance requirements without really losing a lot of the market share. So with device intelligence, we were able to project how the device market is going to look at the time of our game's release and develop with that in mind. And particularly, we discovered that Android devices with 512 megabytes of memory are going to have a negligible market share at that time. So as a result, we decided not to support anything below 1 gigabyte of memory. And that saved us a tremendous amount of the development time. Another example of how we use device intelligence was to expand our reach in different markets. And to do that, it is really important to know what the popular devices are within those markets and genres. So we all know how fragmented the device landscape is on Android. It's incredible, right? And there's like tens of thousands of different devices. And as it turns out, the popular devices, like the top ones, can be quite different from one country to another. So what we've done is, with device intelligence, we were able to take a completely different approach to solving this problem. So instead of worrying about these thousands of different devices, we actually looked at the top GPU models instead. So after defining our target market and the audience, we found out by supporting the top 20 GPUs, we can actually cover 95% of that target market. And obviously, this saved us an incredible amount of resources that we were able to use to actually build the game. Lastly, for a live product, such as Top 11, we want to ensure a great gaming experience for all of our players. And what we really need is a way to optimize solving performance issues based on their market impact. So before, when a crash happened, we could only look at the market share of that device within our own game. But today, with device intelligence, we're able to look at the actual market share of the device outside our titles and make optimal decisions based on that. So one example of that is we recently had a crash on a GPU that I'm not going to name. And device intelligence told us that that particular GPU had a market share of 0.06%. And with that information, we were able to make a very quick decision not to fix that crash, given its very low impact. However, that's not the end of the story, obviously. So how can we prevent new installs on that GPU that we don't support anymore? Well, since Google Play Console allows you to blacklist by the device model only and not by the GPU, we use device intelligence to identify all of the devices using that GPU, and then blacklisted them within the Google Play Console. And what this did is it saved us probably a lot of support requests and potentially bad reviews down the line. So in summary, device intelligence really brought us new capabilities that didn't exist before. And it helped us refine how we make our decisions, both for the existing but also future titles. And we are very excited to have been part of the journey with Unity, and are very thrilled at what's coming up next. So thanks, Unity, and back to you, John.
All right, so just very quickly, this is a product that we are in development with. And as I mentioned, if this type of information or insight would be valuable for you, we'd really encourage you to reach out to us. Help us on this journey and help us develop products that will be impactful for the Unity community. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Nice one, nice one. Okay, so we've come to the final third of our Made with Unity showcase products. So last but not least, I'd like to welcome to the stage Adam Simonar from Envive Studios in Toronto. He's going to talk to you about Pamela.
Hi, everybody. I'm Adam from Envive Studios, and thanks, Clive, for the intro there. I'm here to talk about our upcoming sci-fi survival game, Pamela. First, a little background on our studio. So we started using Unity around 3 years ago for architectural visualization. That was back in Unity 3.5. So our background in architectural design, visualization, and concept art meant that we needed to choose an engine that would let us get up and running quickly, but also produce stunning visual results. And for us, that was Unity. About 1.5 years ago, we broke off a small team to start working on our first game project, Pamela, which was announced exactly 1 year ago at this very same event. We've come a long way since then. We've grown as a team along with Unity 5 through the year, and are currently sitting at 6 full-time developers on the project. So Pamela is a first-person, permadeath survival horror game set in the fallen utopia of Eden, in which the player wakes up from cryosleep to find the city in shambles. Many of the citizens have been killed by a horrible disfiguring disease, and the rest have been driven mad with pain. You'll need to employ a wide selection of tools and weapons to survive as you explore the tomb-like city, and discover the truth behind what happened to the once-perfect society. So Pamela is a heavily exploration-based game. This means that it's extremely important that there's always something waiting around the corner that's equal parts beautiful and terrifying. Unity 5 provides us with the tools we need to achieve this vision. Let's walk through some of my personal favorites. So when it was announced that dynamic global illumination was coming to Unity, we turned to each other in the studio. Literally, we turned to each other and said, we have to have this in our game. This is what we've been needing. So Pamela features a real-time day-night cycle along with a player-controlled power system, so you can turn on and off the lights in the game. And this feature is what allows us to actually implement these effects in the game in a way that looks gorgeous and actually works in real time. We're also utilizing physically based shading along with deferred rendering and linear color space, which basically means our lighting, materials, and environment act in highly realistic and believable ways. This makes our lives easier from a workflow point of view, as it's easier to predict results as they act based on the laws of physics, and also means we can achieve a high dynamic range of visuals, lights and darks, in a way that we couldn't before. Unity's latest updates, as you saw in some of the demos earlier with Lucas, have taken some huge steps forward in terms of post-processing. One of my personal favorite effects, which you can see on display in this image, is actually screen space reflections, which, if you notice, the floor has this nice glossy sheen to it. This effect really helps us pull off these glossy surfaces and sell the believability of the materials we're working with. More than anything else, Unity is a platform and a community that supports us in pursuing our dreams and achieving our goals. The principles that drove us to use Unity in the first place, democratization and the strength of the community, still ring just as true today, as you've seen throughout this whole presentation. And now to drive these points home, I'd like to share a short snippet of our new gameplay trailer, which was just released today. Let's check it out. thank you so much for your time. Big thanks to Unity for including Pamela in this awesome event. If you're interested in learning more, we'll be at the Unity booth in GDC Play all week, where we'll be showcasing a playable demo. And we're aiming to be launching the game on Steam later on this summer, so check it out. Thanks.
Thanks, Adam. That was absolutely gorgeous. Now, we can't get away from one of these things without at least putting the camera back. Say cheese, everybody. All right, so next up is we're going to talk about the deep, dark secret that every great R&D organization has to have. The group of people that you don't see every day. They work on secret projects focusing on a time frame that is not normal. It's not next quarter. They're focusing on things that are sort of a year out, 2 years out, 5 years out, 10 years out. This is the Unity Labs team. They work very closely with our core engineering team. You've actually seen some of their work today. And we're going to introduce this group to you today with a short video, if you will, emceed by the leader of the team, Silvio Druin. So let's run the video.
So my name is Silvio Druin, and I'm a VP at Unity running the advanced research via something we call Unity Labs. And it's really about how will people create stories in the future. The standard production development pipeline in Unity is very dense. It's a lot of work. We wanted to give ourselves the space to try to see where Unity would go 3, 5, 10 years down the road. So in terms of the future of VR, AR, storytelling, game authoring, AI, the metaverse, and how you would build games in 5 years.
What does that mean is at Labs what we do is experiment. So we're like the dreamers. We get to experiment with new ideas and implement them for the midterm and long-term future at Unity. And so, of course, virtual reality is one of those technologies that we're heavily investing.
And we get to figure out how to make tools for people who want to make VR content.
We're doing what developers would want us to do, to go ahead of the curve. You know, do experiments and to fail and to figure out what will work out in the future. Actually, it's not the future, it's like...
It's right now.
It's right now. When it comes to them, it will have been digested and like what survived all those experiments that we tried out.
Well, I am a programmer, and so I have this fascination with creative minds, with creative people. So for me, it's a treat to come to the office every day and talk to my designers and user interaction and get their ideas and their dreams and then bring them together.
At least every week, someone will send us something that they've made in VR using Unity. And I tell you, it's always Christmas. Like, we're like, oh, we got a new build of this, we got a new build of this game. You have to try it, and it's so much fun seeing everyone else try it and see how people are coming up with clever solutions to these problems in VR.
We've got the guys in Paris, which I haven't met yet, but you know, Sebastian Lagarde, the guy behind one of the greatest graphics engines to date. Sure enough, 1 week later from when he joined, he already had cool stuff to show the rest of the company. So that's the power of Labs, is that we are attracting some of the greatest talent in the industry.
In the end, we want to bring this into the hands of many more people.
If the big experiment of Unity Labs works, then it will mean that anyone can make a game regardless of their skill level.
VR and AR is like magic.
Et tout à fait. Moi, mon rôle d'ailleurs à Unity, c'est transformer la magie en technologie.
All right. So, and to prove that the fun of Unity Labs is not just in video, it's in real life, I'm going to ask Timony to come up and show you one little bit of what they're working on. Timony, it's all yours.
Okay. No, it's okay. Hi, everyone. Last month at Vision Summit, Labs introduced one of our first big VR projects, Editor VR, which lets you stay in edit mode even when you have the headset on. So today I'm going to do another demonstration, and I'm also going to show off a little bit of what we've been working on over the last month. So here's hoping hardware works like it did last time. All right. See here, I'm just actually in Unity, and we just have a new window, Editor VR, which I will now make a little bit bigger so you guys can actually see what's going on. Okay. See you guys after this. Okay. All right, so if you saw the video about Editor VR from last month, we had the scene set up a little bit. But this time we started to go out with the blank scene. You see here at the edge of my controller, I have a bunch of assets, different game objects. So let's start off by adding in the ground. There you go. And it's a little bit dark over here, so I've got a directional light that I'm going to add in. Just put it up there. You can see that we have the gizmo in VR, so I can actually just rotate like so. And now we've got some light added to our scene. Now I'm going to fill it out. We're going to make like a little mountain village. So I'm going to add some mountains, pick them up, move them over. But I hear that I only have a couple of minutes on stage, and you guys have been here for a long time now. So I'm going to show off something that we made to make it even faster for you guys to work in VR and quickly out your scene. This is called the chessboard. And this is actually just a smaller version of the scene that you're already in. So you can actually just pick up game objects like this. You just float, put the mountain down, and there you go. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit more over here. I know, this is super fun, by the way. Hopefully we get this out to you quickly so you can try it. But you can see you can actually just rotate, and there's a mountain. I can put it over here, like so. Okay. Yes, it's like playing with like the best dollhouse in the world. This is awesome. And let me zoom in a little bit more here. Now I'm going to add in some more game objects. I've got a building, house, another house, another house. Got some trees. Let's just stick it all in here. We got a barrel. How about this fireplace thingy? Got a tree stump. Okay, all right. So I've got the stuff, and I'm going to zoom in like so. I can actually just pick up the objects and move them around. I'm going to pick up this house over here like this. And actually, I'm going to lock the ground because it turns out you end up hitting the ground a lot. All right, cool. Okay, so I'm going to move this house over here, pick up this other like in thing, put it over here, pick up this other little house, set it maybe here, this here. Got to turn around this big kind of creepy church thing. As you can see, just got the scene set up. It looks like this tree is running into this house, so I can actually just pick it up right here and move it over. But honestly, whether or not you're making a VR game, this is actually just a really quick and efficient way to just lay out a scene really, really fast. Add a couple more objects here, pick up this little sign, and put them over there. Ta-da! You got your scene. All right, I got a couple more things. So the lighting, I'm not loving the lighting. I'm going to pick up the lighting, move it over here, but then I can actually just pick up myself. This is a little mini-me, and put myself by the light, and I can actually just rotate the light and see what the shadows are doing. Yeah, okay, that looks a little bit better. Let's make it a little bit darker. Yeah, there we go. That's dramatic. All right, let's go back down. Oh, a little bit too low now. Here we go. Okay, I think this is looking pretty good, but we might want to add just like a couple more things. Maybe like a dragon. All right, so I've got my dragon here. I'm going to scale him like way up. Yeah, that looks good. Turn him around like so. Maybe put him like over here. And again, this is the kind of thing, like if I was working in 2D, I might be like, yeah, dragon looks good here, dragon looks good here. But we can actually just see it. When you're actually just looking at it, it's so much more efficient, honestly. It's a lot of fun too. Okay, so now we have our dragon. Put a little bit more over here. And now I'm going to add in, we have a knight to fight the dragon. So I'm going to move her over, move her back a little bit and up. Maybe just pick her up and move her myself. There you go. Okay, all right, let's see how that looks with the animations. Cool. All right, maybe move myself up by there. Very cool. Okay, guys, so that's what we're working on right now. No release date yet, but hopefully we're going to work on getting this out to you as soon as possible. So thanks very much.
So thanks, Timothy. So you guys have no idea how brave you need to be to stand this close to the edge of a ledge with a head-mounted display on and a couple of controllers while you wander around. Timothy, not only is that beautiful and brilliant, it was brave. So thanks for doing that. So it's my great pleasure to make the last introduction, the last couple of minutes of our show. So you've seen a lot from Unity today. A heavy focus on quality and a heavy focus on core that underpins everything. You saw, stuff that we're working on the ad side, the analytics side, advanced graphics. You've seen so many interesting and cool things. I couldn't be more proud. But all of this work starts with the principles, what I opened this meeting with. The notion that we're here for the developer first, we're here about democratization, enabling success, solving hard problems. That's a foundation. And if the foundation has a foundation itself, it's in a living person, one of the founders of our company, someone I am proud to call my friend, the guy that started all this along with Joachim, but he really embodies these principles, like life itself. And with that, I'd like to have David Helgeson come up on stage.
It's so totally crazy. Yeah, no, it's really mind-blowing. So, all the stuff you just saw, each and every one of these kind of slides, elements, is a massive effort by a big team of people. And, I'm just so amazed to be able to kind of work with these people and see the sort of, where the original idea, the little idea we started with, to democratize development, solve your hard problems, and really focus on helping you be successful, sort of blooms into all these amazing projects. Processing the entire kind of data for the entire hardware ecosystem and presenting it to you. Inventing totally new ways of building things in VR and outside. Coming up with completely new rendering technologies and making it really easy to use and fast. Supporting all these new platforms. Each and every element there is it's outrageously hard. And I'm just blown away. As we sort of become this bigger company with all these projects, what I'm also really proud of and sort of, thankful actually for the collaboration is that, we sort of stick by the old principles. So the new Unity you'll see is also the old Unity. And I think it really works and sort of, holds together. So that's really wonderful. As we grew really, really fast over the years, and we started all these projects because there was so much demand and so many interesting ideas and so many things to do. As we mentioned earlier, we sometimes didn't kind of stop and make everything work really well together. So I'm really happy also that we kind of go back a little bit and make sure that the new releases are really stable and good. And that's something that I'm pretty certain we will be able to keep going forward. And lastly, as Unity sort of becomes this kind of common language for the whole industry, as I sometimes said, where all the studios that work together find it so much easier when they both use Unity. The publishers love working with teams that use Unity because they understand the code. They'll be able to work with them and help them integrate their special, publisher services and so on. And as the students pouring out of the universities across the globe know Unity and find sort of a direct career path into the studios and building their own companies and so forth, it's just amazing. And I really just want to thank you all for kind of being on the journey with us. And I'm looking forward to meeting you at the booth. See you there. Cheers.